Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode, we speak with the inspirational Lauren Quigley. Lauren has swam from a really young age, and although trying a hand at many sports, swimming was the one for her. Maybe it's in her blood. Competing in predominantly backstroke and freestyle events, Lauren had a fantastic success as a youngster, becoming European Junior Silver medalist and record holder. This set her up to later become British record holder and 5 times British champion. Her senior international career has seen her compete for Great Britain at World Championships in 2013 and 2015, and for England at the Commonwealth Games in 2014, where she came away with 3 silver medals. Her journey after retiring from competition has taken her to some amazing things all over the world, one of which is setting up her own new business called Quigley Sport. Today we talk with Lauren about these new ventures and how she came to them, her career highlights as an athlete, the importance of team cohesion for her, the psychological struggles that challenged her during her career, and also what it's like watching her friend, housemate and sometimes now training partner Lauren Steadman take part in Celebrity SAS. Thanks to Lauren for speaking with us today, and we really hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey, hi everybody. So today we've got Lauren Quigley with us. Hi Lauren, how are you?
Hi guys, yeah, I'm good, thanks. Just sort of getting through lockdown and hopefully coming out of it soon, but we'll just have to go with the rules of that. But yeah, no, all good, all good.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Lauren. Really nice to have you here today. You obviously competed at like such a really high level throughout your career and got international medals and all that. Could you just give us a little background on yourself and your swimming career, please?
Yeah, definitely. So I started, as most swimmers do, just learning to swim. Absolutely loved it. Mum didn't want us to do it because she was an international swimmer. So she tried to stop me and my brother from swimming. Tried everything, put us in every single sport going. But when you try and stop someone from doing something, they want to do it a bit more, I think. So that gave us a bit of fuel to the fire, and we both decided we wanted to swim. So went through, was my home club was Saracens. So I was with them all the way through at Hazel Grove, but I also swam for Manchester for 9 years, and then Stockport for 3. And then I went to Liverpool for 1.5 years. So I had some great clubs, and yeah, I swam at 2 World Championships. So I did Barcelona in 2013 with Amy.
Yeah,
I've got a good story about you actually at Barcelona, which I'll tell you about later.
I'm nervous now. What's this?
It's all good. It's all good. And then Glasgow 2014 Commonwealth Games, and then Kazan, 2015 World Champs. And then it sort of went downhill there, but I'm sure we'll have a chat about that as well later. But yeah, and then I moved to on a trip to Lanzarote, but I continued to swim even when I'd retired. And I had the opportunity to swim for Palma, Mallorca, which sounds strange when I say I went and moved to Lanzarote, but still swam for them. But yeah, through Robin Brew, we got the chance to swim for them, and they were amazing as well. So yeah, I've swum for a few different clubs and done a few different competitions, but yeah, that's a general sort of thing of my swimming. So
Great. That's really interesting. I didn't realise that your mum was an international level swimmer herself. I mean, why did she try to stop you going into it? Did she like how all those early mornings and how tough it was going to be, like moving forward? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that is exactly what it was. She did it herself. But yeah, no, my auntie swam at the Olympics in 1984, 400 IM, so definitely not an event that I would do. My mum was a backstroker as well, so I actually have trophies at home of engraved on when she won them, and then years later when I've won them, which is quite special. But yeah, she did it. She did the early morning, she did the hard training. I've heard all sorts of sessions that she did that I'm just like, oh no, like 10-200s fly with a woolly jumper on.
Oh wow.
And then I'm complaining about 650s, of ascending rest. But we're always having funny little arguments of who trained harder, but I think it's probably her, but I wouldn't tell her that. So yeah, she went through it all and did the early mornings, and then she said she didn't really want us doing the same. Now, I don't know whether that's she didn't want to carry on doing the early mornings and having to take us, or she just said it's just a really hard, sport to do, and you might get you might get a bit more out of a different sport. So like I say, she tried to stop us, but there was no stopping us once we'd got in and swam. And I used to walk up and down the poolside and watch her swim, because she still swims a bit. So she didn't win that one, we won it. So
wow, so swimming's really in the blood then for your family, isn't it? It's just gone through the generations. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that must be really nice as well, to kind of draw off your mum and your auntie's experiences to help your own as well as if you were moving forwards through the sport. I mean, what would you say are maybe some of your career highlights of your own?
Career highlights, probably when I managed to get my goggles on the flags at Stockport, and we all found it.
Did that mean you got to go out early?
Career highlights. I mean, one that stands out for me is when I broke the minute for the 100 back at the World Champs in Kazan. I'd wanted to do that for so long, and I've got a story of the 5 years that it took. So I went from a minute 0.5, and it took 5 years to get to break the minute. And I actually went a minute 0.01 at one point, and I was just like, maybe I'm just not supposed to do it. But yeah, I got to the World Champs, and I broke it in 3 times in 1 week after that. And it was just a shift in my mental side, really. Up until that point, it was just break the minute every time I got in, break the minute. And I got to the Worlds, and I thought, do you know what? I don't even want to break it anymore. Sack it. I don't want to break it. And so I just remember walking out, and I think I remember smiling pretty much down the second length, even though I was in pain. I was smiling because I felt like I'd done it, because I'd focused on the process of the race. And I touched the wall and saw that, and saw the 59, and then saw mum and dad in the top with the flags. And so that was a pretty special moment for me. I think that's definitely my highlight. But also the 50 back at the Commonwealth Games against Georgia. Unfortunately for me, she beat me, but it was a fantastic race. And just, we touched the wall. I think we were first and second in the world at the end of that season, and that was definitely a special one, being in Glasgow as well. So those are a couple that I definitely stick out for me.
Yeah, I mean, what I loved about that race at Glasgow as well for commies is that I remember, and there's some great pictures of it, at the end of that race, you were there holding George's arm up to sort of like help us celebrate. And I just thought that was so nice. That's just you, isn't it, Lauren? You like, come on, like pushing them forwards, and like really kind of recognising other people's achievements. And I know how much you would have wanted that gold medal yourself, but to have got, as like you said, it was a great race, and that is what the sport is, isn't it? That is just, that competition is the exciting part of it. And that was, and I remember watching that race. I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, Georgia said to me a few times before, she's thanked me for raising her hand, because she said she wouldn't have any pictures of celebrating, she would have just got out. And so she said, thanks for doing that, and I didn't even think twice. It was, yes, of course I wanted to win, but the race is over and you celebrate, and she did amazing, and it was just a great race. So, yeah.
Yeah, you both did, and like I said, I really like that you were kind of there to give her that support straight away.
Yeah, you mentioned before there, like the clubs and stuff that you swam through, and you said you'd stayed with your old club the entire way through, even though you swam at a few different places. We actually had Mark Rose on the podcast a couple of weeks
ago.
I saw. Yeah, so that'll be one of your old coaches. So were you with Mark for that entire 9 years?
Was I with Mark for the 9 years?
Yeah, you said you were at Manchester.
No. I had, when I first moved, I had Mark Lappin.
Right.
And I think he moved to Sheffield after that.
Okay.
So I had Mark Lappin for a while, and then Mark Rose came in. So I was with Mark Rose for a few years.
Yeah. I just got me thinking there. You said there you raised George's hand, and like that sort of team spirit, like Amy was sort of saying, seemed to be.
We weren't on the same team at that point, were we? Georgia and England and Wales.
Well,
but yeah.
Was that like a big thing for you in the clubs that you moved to? Like I know Stockport, like around sort of the era you were swimming out, was quite a strong, close-knit team. It appeared on the outside anyway. Was that something you thought about?
Yeah, definitely. I speak to some of the guys that I used to train with at Stockport, and we always say that we didn't actually appreciate it as much as we should have when we were in that team. I went through a few different squads at Stockport. So when I first joined, it was me, Jimmy Goddard, Harry Needs, and Russell Smith, just the four of us. So it was me and all lads, and we did a trip to South Africa, and that was brilliant. And then it moved again, and we had a load more lads like Liam Selby, Tom Moss, Tom Litton joined us. So it was still all boys. It was just me and all boys. And again, it was a great team. Everyone wanted to train hard, and it was just, you know, there wasn't one person that wasn't all in it. And then it flipped again, and it went to an all-girls squad, apart from my brother and Kieran Beard-Jones. And again, that squad was amazing, and everyone trained hard. And I think when I've moved around and seen different teams, there's always been someone who doesn't get on with someone, or, you know, there's always that little gossipy. And as you get older, obviously that goes. But with the squads at Stockport, the teammates were absolutely incredible. And I definitely wouldn't have got where I was without those guys around me. And it almost, I used to think, you know, we all train together and we all train super hard. And I'm the one that makes the teams. And I always used to think, I wish they were making it with me, because we're all training, you know, we're all doing the same stuff. But no, the teams have always just been incredible. And making the teams for GB, there was people that always stood out to me. I call them the kindest superstars I've ever met, and Amy's actually one of those.
Oh, thanks.
In Barcelona, Amy, you were amazing with me because I was new. So I was sat at a table. I remember sitting at a table one of the first nights. You were there, and Hannah Miley, you two stick out. And I was just sat on the table like, I've watched these guys on TV, and I'm sat eating dinner with them, and we're going to race together, you know. And it was such a surreal moment, and you two particularly were just so lovely. And because I think new people come on and people aren't that bothered, and you don't realise how nervous the new ones are, I think, being around you guys. And actually that, you know, you two just stood out because you were so lovely, and you helped me, and you were chatting away, and just those little conversations meant a lot. But yeah, so team has always been massive to me, always. You can't do it on your own, even though it's an individual sport. It couldn't be done on your own.
Yeah, I mean, it is a strange jump. Like, so Joe and I were both at Loughborough, as you know, and you kind of create your own team there. And you go to your meets, say British champs and things like that, and you're there with that team. And then if you make the British team, it's kind of, you've got to create a whole new team to go on. And it's quite, you've got to create a team atmosphere quite quickly. You know, that obviously, like you say, if you've been on there for a few years, then, you know, you see the same faces now and again, but the team is always changing as you go through the years. And I do think, like you say, it can be quite daunting the first couple of times going onto a team where they might already have been on teams for years with each other. So it's quite an experience, isn't it, I think? But it's just, it pushes you actually that little bit outside your comfort zone from being back at your home team. But sometimes I think being at these big meets, that can, for me anyway, I quite liked having that extra bit of, it just made everything feel different. So it made kind of, you know, step up that little bit more, I think. So yeah, it's definitely an experience, but I think it is important to remember that new people coming onto the team, how daunting it is. Like, remember your first time of doing it yourself. Yeah, definitely. I mean, so through your career, you've had some absolutely fantastic highlights, as you've said there. We all know swimming is a massively physical sport where, you know, you go across, obviously, through physical struggles. That's absolutely expected. There's also obviously a psychological side to it too, as in any sport, as in lots of different things. And recently you have kind of alluded to the fact that you've had challenges yourself in that kind of area going through your own sporting career. Would you mind kind of telling us a little bit about kind of your experiences with that and how you've sort of dealt with that and come out the other side? Things that might, you know, be they might relate to younger swimmers as well?
Yeah, definitely. So up until 2015, it was very simple for me. I worked hard and I was successful, and I worked hard and I was successful, and I worked hard and I was successful. And then 2016 came and I'd done really well. I had the best season I'd had ever in 2015 at the Worlds. And obviously, when you'll know, all through from when you start swimming and you start doing well and stuff like that, the Olympics is it. You're going to the Olympics, and for me it had always been 2016 is your year. You're going to make the team, you're going to smash it, and all that sort of stuff. And so you hear that for years, and I wish I'd have known. Obviously, everyone says it, but I wish I'd have known what I know now back then. But the pressure built for me. I went in 2016, and everything sort of changed. The team I was in was fantastic, but I had some difficulties with other people. I was never, as you can tell, I was never the skinny athlete. I was never the slim athlete. I was never the smallest athlete. And at the, that sometimes in swimming and in sport, that's difficult because you sort of get told, you get told about it, basically. You get reminded. And when you get reminded of something every day, you start to believe it, and you think, actually, maybe, I'm not the athlete that's going to make it and stuff like that.
But Lauren, sorry, can I just, skinny isn't necessarily what you need. And
no, and I know that now.
You were in great shape though.
Well, I look back now and I think I wish I was in that shape now.
Yeah,
but, at the time, you sort of, I think with swimming and with sport, I don't like to talk for all sports, but I'm sure it's very similar. You are forced to mature when you make teams, for sure, but also you are kept have a very childish mind as well. I think you're always reliant on a coach, and I've noticed in, say, like with triathlon, you don't always have to have a coach there, but with swimming you always have to have a coach there, and so you're always having decisions made for you. And the good swimmers that go through the sport realise that they can make their own decisions. But at this time, I wasn't in that phase or that mindset. And like I say, the pressure built, and I started to hate it. I hated going to the pool. I hated the training. I didn't even want to take my kit off before the session. It was all that sort of stuff. And then, I remember going to the Olympic trials in, where were they? Glasgow. And being stood in the core room to walk out for the 100 back, which was supposed to be the event that I made the team. In everyone else's mind, I was going. But I actually wrote something on my laptop in the January to say I hated it. I don't want to do it. I hate the sport and all that sort of stuff. Wow. Just from an accumulation of pressure and people around me and stuff like that. And I remember being stood in the core room and all the girls were lined up in front of me. And I remember thinking, I don't care if I come last here. I just got to get out of here. So I swam. I think I came fourth. I got out. I can laugh about it now. I got out and I got called over for an interview. And I was like, in my head, you can imagine, I was just like, I was numb to it all, to be honest. And I went over and they were like, so how would you swim? And I was like, really? You're going to ask me that now? But anyway, I did the interview. I can't remember what I said. I went round to my coach. Nothing really was said. Went outside and then burst into tears to my parents. Because before that, I felt quite numb about it. And then I went, and burst into tears. And the worst thing for me actually was not making the team. Now, obviously, I was gutted I didn't make the team. And I'm not saying, I don't care because I didn't make it. Of course I cared and I really wanted to make the team. But the worst thing for me was I hated the sport that I'd always loved. That was it. So, and my parents didn't have a clue. I kept it all on the down low, kept it to myself. And people say, God, why didn't you talk about it? But at the time, I just didn't. And now I don't regret anything. I'm not glad it happened, but I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now without having that happened. And I can help people, which is where Quigley Sport's coming from. I want to help people in the next generation of athletes, but But now I look back and I think to do things differently, it would be to realise that it is my own journey and I can make decisions. And although coaches are great, they aren't God. They don't know you like you know yourself, even though you sometimes naively think they do. And you just got to be sensible with the decisions you make and not believe everything your coach says all the time and stuff like that. Coaches are great, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. But also, you, especially as you get older, to start making decisions for yourself is definitely key. And you want to be around positive people. Again, my teammates at the time were amazing. But surround yourself with positivity and as long as you love it, and this is again something that I talk about a lot, and I know a lot of athletes do, enjoy it, but really please enjoy it. There's I was joking about it with my brother the other day, and he was saying, I said to him, if you could go back, what would you say to yourself? And he said to enjoy it. But he said, I wouldn't listen, because kids don't, younger ones don't. They go, yeah, enjoy it. I do, it's great. But seriously, it's, it goes very quick. And I don't think I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have done. I didn't really celebrate. I didn't celebrate any of my highs really, because I didn't feel they were good enough. And so, it's just celebrate everything, because we do now. My dog goes for a poo and my family go, hey, we'll open the bottle. Hey. We celebrate everything. And so, celebrate, enjoy, and, think about what you want, your own decisions, not just what the coach tells you to do all the time. Sorry if that was a very long answer. I feel like I just...
That's great.
Yeah, it can be, as you said, the dunk, can't it? To enjoy it. People say like enjoy it, and you have a good success, but you just always see it as a stepping stone.
Yes.
Or to next part of your cycle, or to so you don't really ever stop and enjoy those, even the successes, as much as like you think about those failures. Is kind of how I found coming away from the sport and stuff. So what was it 2015 where you said you broke the minute at the World Champs? So you swimming your life, broke it 3 times in a week. So like almost 8 months ish later, you were swimming at the Olympic trials. Were you feeling that pressure before like Kazan at the World Champs, or did that completely change in those 8 months? And why was there such a shift?
Well, there's a few things that happened that I won't say on camera. But there was, I swam at the Worlds, broke the minute, absolutely amazing, loved it. Got out, went to Sharon Davis. I was the first semi, so I didn't know if I'd made it through to the final, but I broke the minute, so I was just like, well, I was like, and then she told me live on TV that I'd made it, and that was an amazing moment. And then I went home and had summer, and then went back, and things just changed. And I don't know if it was the pressure of the Olympic year, but things were very different, and the approach to things were different. It just, through those, I mean, it wasn't even 8 months, because it was in the January I was writing things saying I don't want to be doing it. So it was over a very quick period, but it will, and I don't blame everyone else. Obviously, it's my own doing as well, massively, and not getting a grip of my mental state and how the way I thought about things and my mental side of swimming. And I don't think I placed enough importance on the mental side of swimming when I swam. And you don't realise that, I think when you go to a race, it's 95% of it is mental. By the time you get there, you've done all the physical work, and I definitely neglected that. So when it came to racing at the Olympic trials, I didn't have any tools to prepare for that. I just was numb. I remember walking onto poolside to warm up for the 100 back final, and one of the coaches that I worked on in the camp was shouting me down the pool, Lauren, and I just completely ignored him. Didn't ignore him on purpose, but I just wasn't even, I was on holiday somewhere, I think. I wasn't even having a good time on holiday. I must have got food or something. But I just, and then he came over to me and he went, "Why did you just ignore me?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" You know, it's sort of like I wasn't even. It was like an out of body experience, really. But yeah, it all happened very, very quickly, and it's just shows how quickly the mental side can get a grip of you and change it from being in a world championship final to not even wanting to be in a pool anymore. Yeah, it happened very quick.
Do you feel like writing those thoughts and feelings down in that January that you'd said was a way of you kind of venting, or kind of, I don't know, like obviously a lot of swimmers get told that keeping a logbook is good, and then, you know, you can look back on your progression and it can give you the confidence and things like that. Obviously that would be a kind of a bit different. Is it a way of you venting, or did you think now maybe what you'd said there should have been vented to someone to help you? Would that have helped you better, do you think, now?
Being completely honest, because I didn't want anyone to know how I was feeling, I just kept it hidden. And again, that's something that is very key in what I say now. Definitely talk about it, and I wish I had. And I, you know, my parents were devastated when they found out, because they said, "How have we not even realised?" And I'm sure they will have done, but you know, in a year like that, no one wants to hear. Not. Of course, they'd want to hear me talk about it, but everyone wants it to be positive, and you're going to make it, and all that sort of stuff. But I wrote it because I knew I wasn't going to make the team, to be honest. Because I just knew I wasn't in the state of mind. I didn't want to, and all that sort of stuff. I did, but I didn't. You know, it's hard. But so I actually wrote it because just to basically be able to say, and I look back now and I think that was not a good idea, but so that when I didn't make it, I could say, it's not because I've swam bad. It's because I didn't. This is how I felt all year. But it was because I swam bad, and I swam bad because of that. Yeah. You know, and when I got out of the race, everyone's going, "What happened?" You know, everyone wants an excuse. Were you injured? Did you hurt? Were you sick? No, I just swam bad. You know, people do just swim bad, and I swam bad, and I was mentally in the wrong place. And after that, I'd spent 3 months in my room. I didn't come out. I remember driving back down from Glasgow, just tears streaming from my face. Then got home, got into my room, didn't come out. And then, and one of the amazing things like that, loads of people messaged me just to say, "I hope you're okay, and please don't quit on that," and all that sort of stuff. And obviously at that point, I hated it, I didn't want to swim. Luckily, I got back in with Mike Roberts, and he was absolutely phenomenal. And I got back in to get the love back for it, so not to go to the Olympics, just to love it again, which I did, and he was amazing. But yeah, for those 3 months was horrendous. But I went through that and came out and realised that I need to deal with things better, and just to talk about more stuff and all that sort of stuff. And actually, it wasn't the end of the world I didn't make the Olympics. But the funny thing was, when I didn't make it, people on poolside were acting as if someone had died in the family and just avoiding me. And I was like, I'm still me. And I made it actually a joke. I was very good at the bravado. I'd go up to people and they'd be like, "Well, it could be worse. You could be me," you know. And people were laughing, and I was laughing about it. Obviously, inside, I was devastated. But yeah, it's interesting how people act. And touching on what you said before about raising George's hand, another thing Georgia said when I finished was, "You are one of the only athletes that if you beat them or they beat you, you're exactly the same." And I think that's so important. Like, even though I didn't make it, people were avoiding me, and I was like, I'm still the same person. I just didn't swim very well, you know. And I think that's important in swimming and in sport, you know. Just always be you, and you're going to win sometimes. Other people are going to beat you sometimes. Just get on with it, you know. Just enjoy it.
It is difficult, isn't it? Especially when you're doing it to a level where it is sort of like your job. I mean, that is what your world is focusing and revolving around for most hours of the day, week in, week out for years. And I think it gets to the point where you see that as your identity. So it's then hard to distinguish between a sort of like having a bad swim and then seeing that as a huge failure and everything else is wrong in the world and your life and whatever. And you've got to kind of remember that it is, at the end of the day, swimming. And, you know, there's a lot worse things that could happen. Do you know what I mean? Although it is hard and you put so much time and effort and energy into that, and there's people around you that have supported you through all of that, it feels horrible, but on the other side of it, it is just a swim. We struggled with identity coming out of swimming, didn't we? Like not being swimmers anymore. And it's definitely quite a big thing to try and get your head around. So it's good to try and keep other things on the outside, I think, going. Just so you've got a little bit of another focus. So, you know, if one thing's not quite going right, you've got the other thing in your life as well.
Yeah, we were talking recently, weren't we, about like you mentioned it before, Lauren. You said about like swimming kind of matures you, and you sort of make a GBT matures you. I feel like it does, and then it seems to keep you at whatever age you were there.
Well, for me.
This is just me. I don't know, but like, just the way the GB team was set up. And because swimmers tend to be relatively young, and I was one of the older, I sort of was older in my career when I started making GB team and stuff. And I was like 27 years old, and they're telling me you've got to go to bed now.
Yeah.
What are you doing on the corridor? Why are you walking down? So, well, because what? Like, you know, I was getting told when to go to bed when I was in my late 20s. I was like, this is ridiculous. You weren't allowed just the opportunity to make any decisions yourself, which just seemed a little bit silly. So then you come out of swimming. For me, I was 29, and that's all I'd done for the last 20 odd years is swim. So it's a bit strange then. And then I finished on what wasn't a good performances, so it finished on a big nosedive rather than on an up. It's easy, I guess, if you leave on a big So it's strange times and strange to get your I don't know, split that identity kind of thing, and I don't know. I'm sort of rambling here because a lot of different things going through my head. But is this now sort of like Quigley Swim? Have you taken what you've learned there and put this into Quigley Swim? Like how have you integrated that?
Yeah, well, that's the idea. I mean, through my whole career, I loved helping out, and we all did it. We all did the swim appearances and stuff like that, and I loved doing those and helping out where I could. And you know, you don't get taught necessarily the actual home truths of sport when you're younger. I know I definitely didn't, and it's through no one's fault. You just don't talk about it. And so I just think highlighting some things like we are now to other athletes of the truths of some things that go on and the mental side of it and all that. And so it's just about being honest, really, about my own journey and hoping that other people can get stuff out of it. You know, a lot of the time I felt alone in what I was feeling, and then since I've come out of it, it's a bit late. I can't go back. But there's athletes that have reached out to me and that have said that's how I felt when I, you know, was going through it and stuff like that. And that's something that's key. It's being honest, and it's showing other athletes that that's normal and there are ways of getting around it. So there's obviously that side of it, and then just the helping out in the pool side. You know, there's stuff like you said, you do it for 20 years, we do it for a long time. So if we can help out and give back, then that's something I've always wanted to do. So it's just about being open and honest and making sure that athletes know that what they're going through, someone's definitely gone through or gone through similar. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's great, and it's a great idea as well. I actually saw, I think it was on Instagram this morning from Kate Campbell. She put up a post about mental health, and I think she's been quite open and honest recently about struggling with that. And, you know, in the past she's had performances where she's probably had that expectation on her of, well, you're going to win, and, you know, at really high level competitions, and then she's not. And she gets out and people are probably like, oh, what happened there? That's people's thought. And like you said, it's not always just anything, maybe you just didn't have the swim. But recently she's been quite open and honest on social media, I've noticed, about mental health. And she was saying this morning on the one that I saw that for sports people, sometimes it can be seen as a weakness to be struggling with anything like that or need extra support in those kind of areas. And she was really quite, she wants to be an advocate for saying like, that's really not the case. Like you know, everyone is going to be under that kind of pressure. People are just going to need different levels of support to kind of get them behind that block, feeling the best they can be. And so I think, yeah, like you said, open and honest is definitely the best way to go. And sometimes I think even that can just feel like a weight lifted, can't it? Just to let someone know about it that can go, actually, yeah, no, I don't know exactly what you mean. I went through a similar thing. And it just makes it feel human again, that, you know, you're not the odd one out or anything like that. So there's, yeah, top level swimmers like yourself, like Kate Campbell, are all kind of, you know, aware that it's something that needs to be taken into account, basically, as part of your training. So yeah, I mean, that's great. So you've also said, just before we were on camera, that you're setting up a running app, is it?
Yes, yeah. So it's called V-Run. Yeah, it's called V-Run. It's on all the social medias. Working on an app to go along with it, but it's just a virtual running club, so anyone in the world can join it. It's been great to work on through lockdown. Obviously, it's a great time to be part of a virtual something because no one can actually see anyone physically in person anymore, so that's great. But yeah, it's just an opportunity for people to join a club and do sessions, you know, events, stuff like that, really. So that's really exciting. We've noticed that there's definitely cycling ones like Zwift and Sufferfest, but we wanted to bring our own running one in. So yeah, that's been really good to work on so far.
Brilliant. When you say we, who are you talking about?
There's a guy in Lanzarote called Mark Botham, who's actually from the UK. He's from actually near me in Stockport, but he has a house in Cornwall. But they're in Lanzarote. And yeah, I got to meet Mark when I went out for the first time. And ever since, we got on really well. His family are amazing. And yeah, we've just been working on this running app. He's a running coach. But this is just something he's doing on the side of his work anyway. But yeah, no, it's been great.
Oh, bro! I mean, you've just mentioned there about Lanzarote and meeting Mark out there. You've kind of lived out there for a little bit, sort of, haven't you? With working with Robin Brew, and also Lauren Steadman's out there a little bit, isn't she? With you guys too. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to go and live abroad and sort of what you're doing out there? What's your role with Robin?
Yeah. So basically, obviously I said I swam at Liverpool after my time. Well, I sort of had retired, but not. I was just getting back in to enjoy it. And then I got the opportunity. Well, before I go on to that, no one knows this, but I went for a test to get on this is an exclusive for you guys. I actually, thanks to Robin, got me in touch with GB rowing, and I went to do a test to get on the GB Start programme. I got onto it, and I did a few months training rowing. So I learned how to row, and I was rowing at Salford Quays, so I was rowing past Coronation Street and Old Trafford. Any United fans out there, it was great.
Yeah.
And yes, I did that for a few months, and that was, I mean, rowing's tough. Rowing is tough. And I somehow picked another sport where I go backwards. I did it. And I met some amazing people, learned a new sport, and it was fantastic. And those guys were brilliant. But then I got the opportunity to move out to Lanzarote and go and work with Robin, which I couldn't really turn down. So I went out to Lanzarote and was helping Robin with Robin Brew Sport. So we were coaching swimming and triathlon camps, but obviously the triathlon camps I wasn't very good with coaching for running or cycling, so I just sort of took part. But yeah, helped out with the swimming side and also did the media for Robin Brew Sport, so the photography and the video editing and all that. And that's been amazing. I can't put a value on it. It's just been the people I've met, living in a new country, like I said, having a constant tan. It's just brilliant. But yeah, that's been amazing. And obviously Robin coaches Lauren Steadman, and I lived with Lauren for the second year, and she is just one of a kind, that girl. It's been great to get to know her and train with her and watch her train and stuff like that. And obviously she's been doing Strictly and SAS, so that's been cool because I get all the behind the scenes. So that's been interesting. But yeah, no, it's been a fantastic 2 years. and I've learnt loads and taking stuff from my swimming career, like we said, and putting that into place. We'd have like family swim camps where I'd do talks and speak to the younger guys, which I absolutely loved. And also learning again two new sports, running and cycling. So I just basically bounce from sport to sport, really. See what I'm all right at and just go with that. But yeah, no, that's been a great 2 years with Robinbury Sports, and hopefully, obviously lockdown stopped all that, but we'll see when we can get back to that and stuff like that. But yeah, no, all good stuff since I came out of swimming. So
wow, rowing, didn't know about that. That's the breaking news.
yeah,
So how did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, it was cold at times, rowing outside, absolutely freezing. But it was really good fun, and it was nice to step out of the swimming bubble, because as you guys know, you sort of know everyone in the swimming bubble, and you think that that's everyone, and and then you step out and you go, I know no one. And you meet all these new people, and you learn skills, and I took skills from swimming, obviously, and transferred those over, and yeah, it was definitely an interesting few months. I was in a beginner's boat for a long time, which became a joke to everyone. I was in a boat that you couldn't tip, you physically couldn't. But I managed to get into a proper boat, and that was cool. That was a good experience.
So what were you rowing in, like a four, a pair, or?
No, single scull. So if you come from, if you do the GB Start programme, it's normally people from other sports. So they want to make sure you can row on your own first before you start to go with people. I moved away before I'd even gone with someone else, and they're probably thankful for that.
They'll make sure you're not going to tip the boat up with the other three.
Yeah, exactly. It's cold and it's dirty in Salford Keys, so it's good.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. You've not got into open water then? I know a few have got into open water since stopping the pool.
Yeah, I mean, well, at the start of my career, I was doing 800s, and I said to my mum when I'd had enough of them, I said, I think I was about 14, 15, and I said, I don't want to do them anymore. And she said, well, we're at Nationals, just do this one, and then go out with a bang, and that's it. So I did the 800, I think I went 8:49. I got a silver, I think. And I got invited on all the open water events. I was like, cheers, Mum. So I think I did one race when I was in swimming, and that was the Elite Wave in Salford Keys with Kerry Ann Payne, Cassie Patton. I was at the back. I was just, having a lovely time, really. But since then, I've done one again in Lanzarote, and it's a bit different when it's nice and warm, and the sea's clear. So that's been fun, and the prize was Haribo, so I had to win it. So I did that one, but other than that, I haven't done any open water whatsoever. Did get tempted in Lanzarote, but no, I haven't done any.
I bet it's definitely more tempting out there.
Definitely is. Definitely.
Salford Keys.
You got any more exclusive for us then on Lauren with the behind the scenes from the SAS? We've just watched that, haven't we? During lockdown, we were, I think we were behind, so we played catch up, so we've only just seen them.
Yeah, she did so well. Yeah, really well.
She did amazingly well. There's stories that she told me that obviously didn't get aired because they only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she did amazing, and I knew she was going to do amazing. She was very nervous watching the actual shows come out, because obviously you don't know how they're going to edit it. But no, she did fantastic. I'm not sure I could have done it. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, no, I mean, I think they portrayed it quite well. There's a couple of things that looked a bit, but her and Joey are all good. Like, that's all fine. They like to play that one up to the camera, and she was telling me all about it, and she was like, oh, but I like Joey, and I don't want to cut it in the wrong way and stuff like that. But no, it was a great series to watch. It was very strange to watch with her sat next to me, or being on the end of the phone. But yeah, no, she did incredible. I just want her to go on I'm a Celeb now, really. That's all.
And she would have done them all.
Pardon?
And she would have done them all.
Yeah.
SAS.
Yeah. I just wanted to do I'm a Celeb because I said, will you please invite me out, and then I can go to the hotel, I'll be at the end of the bridge, it'll be great.
Yeah. Get your tan back.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant. Well, yeah, I mean, like you say, it's fantastic that you're out there and you're trying loads of new things, new experiences, and you're transferring what you've learned in swimming over. And I really love that you are trying to pass that on to the next generation as well, because, I mean, obviously everyone learns as they go along. And so hindsight is a brilliant thing. But if you can kind of help in that little way, in any way, to pass a bit of encouragement on, and anyone picks it up, even those little snippets, then I think that's job done, isn't it? That's a great thing. So yeah, brilliant. I mean, is anything else you want to ask, Lauren?
No, that's
he wants all the Celebrity SAS scoop now.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, wants more gossip.
I think I'm always like watching it, feeling like, oh, what could I do this? It's just the cold. But they keep doing these ones in middle of Scotland somewhere. I think no, it's too cold.
If you got asked to do it though, Joe, would you do it?
Yeah, you would.
Probably, yeah. I couldn't.
Yeah, all right. I'll get Lauren to put a word. I think you'd be good.
Yeah, I think I'd have been good 10 years ago. No,
Nah, don't put yourself down, Joe. You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah. So like you said before, swimmers can't run and my knees can't handle any running. So
No, I know, that's true. All right, well, I'll ask to get you on Strictly then. We'll do that.
Oh yeah, do that. That'd be good.
I think I'd be better just struggling through the running than trying to dance.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for that today, Lauren. That was really interesting, and I feel like we've learnt loads from you as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and best
Thanks for having me.
What you're doing with your app, with your new coaching, with Quigley Sport, and everything as well. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Where can I find you, Lauren? Quigley Sport and yourself online, what your Twitter handles and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's Quigley Sport on Instagram, and there's a Facebook page, and then it's Lauren A. Quigley just everywhere. And if you really want to find me, I'm in Stockport walking around somewhere. But social distancing, obviously.
Yeah. Don't just run up.
Beautiful,
right, well,
Lauren. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. Nice to speak to you.
See you soon, Lauren.
Bye.
Bye.